Roll Tide and welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Now, please be joined by the newest member of the team on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. It is former Alabama defensive lineman and captain Damion Square, who joins us as our sideline analyst. And Damion, let me be the first on the air to welcome you to the team. Roll Tide, man. Great to see you.
Thank you, man. I am so excited to be a part of this thing, man. Um, Words cannot explain how fortunate I am to be here in this new era to get a sideline view of what's going on and what's to come in Tuscaloosa, man. Everybody's curious. So for me to be so close and be able to talk to the fans and report back to the people who are somewhat curious about how this next era is going to be, man, I cannot wait. I am so excited. I thought I was going to have to lose my mind watching it from my couch and screaming through the TV, but now I can actually be on the sideline and just drop a bug on the sideline and let them know how I feel about the situation. Man, it's going to be so good.
It really is. We're glad you're part of the team along with Chris Stewart and Tyler Watts. What do you hope to bring to our fans on the radio this year?
Just my experience from playing ball, you know what I mean? Just understanding the game, giving, a good analogy of what I see. Like I said, man, just bringing excitement, passion. I love football. I was raised on ESPN. You know what I mean? I was raised watching the Dallas Cowboys growing up. And then obviously, I spent my time in Tuscaloosa, which made me fall in love with football even more, man. So I'm just excited to be a part. I know what Alabama football brings. I know what type of environment it is, man. So I'm not going to, you know, make any, future judgments or anything, man. I'm just going to take it for what it is. And every Saturday I show up, man, I'm just going to be that genuine, and I'm going to give you guys a genuine report of what I see and the passion that I have for this football program.
We look forward to it. Let's go back just a little bit. You mentioned you're growing up watching ESPN, watching the Dallas Cowboys. You're from Texas. How did Alabama get on your radar in the recruiting process? What made you sign, first of all, with the Tide?
Well, I had a little connection, man. I had the guy that coached me in high school. He was from Lake Charles, Louisiana, and he was a LSU guy. He was a big LSU fan. I don't think he had the opportunity to play a big D1 football, but he was an LSU fan at the time that Nick Saban was in Baton Rouge, and Bo Davis and him were really good friends, man. And at the time, Bo Davis was the defensive line coach at Alabama. I had just been learning some of the same things, playing in the same system. So it just made a lot of sense for me in my life to continue to do some of the things that I had already been trained to do. So that's how Alabama showed up, in my recruiting process. And then I fell in love with it, once I got on campus and, just kind of got entangled into all the pride and the championships and just the passion that those people have for that program in that state, man. It just, I bleed crimson now, man. It's sort of sickening, how passionate I am. I went there to play football. I didn't think I would turn out to be like this. You know what I mean, man? I find myself sick sometimes when we don't receive the results we want on Saturdays, man. So I've definitely turned into, one of those people that I met when I first got there.
Does that translate to other sports too? I mean, how fired up were you for the basketball team in March Madness last year?
Everything, man. Everything, man. I find myself looking into golf, swimming. Dude, I'm just crimson everything, man. It's a true passion. Of course I have other things that I'm passionate about in my life, man, but I could tell you, man, it is kind of uncontrollable, when it comes to the Crimson Tide, man. It's a little bit bigger than me. My passion for that football team and then that whole university, man, and what they did for me, my family, my wife, kids. I mean, I just can't I can keep, letting you know the things that the university did for me, man. So yeah, it's definitely bigger than me.
Well, you did a lot for the university. You get to be part of three national championship teams during your time at Alabama. The first one in the Saban era in '09, and then backed it up with the back-to-back titles in 2011 and 2012. Just what made that time so special for you, and what'd you guys do to get Alabama to that number one spot in college football?
I mean, at that time, and I don't even know if we knew what we were doing. You know what I mean? We were just guys that were brought, were buying into Coach Saban's system. And then, just our commitment and then the passion that the program already had. I think that met up. I think the people in Tuscaloosa always had passion for their program. I think they always had great expectations and great intentions for their program, and it never it didn't meet up all the time when if it came to like coaching hiring or recruiting and things like that. And I think in 2008, man, all of that stuff just came together, dude. Nick leaving the NFL, not having too much success there, um, which is, like I said, unfortunate for him, but fortunate for Alabama, for him to come down and want some simplicity in his life and get out of the limelight a little bit, you know, and come and deal with kids. And we were prepared, man. Julio, Marcel Darius, Terrence Cody. I mean, just to name a few, man. And when we brought our passion and our expectations, and he had a chip on his shoulder, trying to prove his legacy and trying to continue, what he left off with at LSU. I think when all of that stuff came together at the right time, and it created what we have today, which is a dynasty that is really, really hard to stop.
Certainly is. And well, of course, the news that you were joining us on the radio started to go around social media earlier in the week. And of course, your name still pops up on social media nearly every Bama game day because of some pregame speeches that we've seen kind of leaked from the locker room. Not too many speeches get leaked. There's only a couple of Coach Saban speeches out there, but you have one of the most fired up speeches we've ever seen. Do you have fun knowing that Alabama fans still watch that on game days and get themselves hyped up for the game like you were trying to hype up your teammates?
As you can see with the smile on my face, I love, that people know about that, because when you're playing ball and you have these moments that your teammates know about, you think that it's only going to stay, within those realms, and it won't, break that barrier. But, for this video to get out and, go viral, man, is, one, it's always good for me and my brand, of course, for people to see my face attached to this beautiful brand that's on my hat here. So fortunate to be a part of that, and when I first got there, I admired all those things. Like, I would go to the board or the little screen upstairs, and I would watch the videos of the 1992 national championship, or different coaches speaking to the team before the games, because that's how the football facility used to be set up. You used to go to those video boards and look at those things. So to know that I have, something that'll be on those boards probably until the end of time, when I'm not here, when my kids aren't here, is just amazing, man. I never thought, that it would come, without winning a championship or something like that. Just a moment that I had in the locker room, being passionate with my teammates, man. To know that will live on forever, it does touches my soul. And like I said, to be a part of a brand like Alabama, man, it just adds, the icing on the cake, man. That was just a true passionate moment. We were playing against LSU. LSU was definitely our threshold at the time. That was a team that if we beat them, we pretty much was going to play for championships, whether we played them again or not. You know what I mean? But like, at that time, they were the team to beat. They were recruiting at a high level. We were recruiting at a high level, and that's the type of passion that we needed to beat those guys at that time.
We need that kind of passion on the radio too. Maybe even before we leave the stage of Vector Security Champions Lane, you can give the fans a hype speech every week. That'd be a lot of fun.
And you'll get it out of me depending on how close the game is.
That's certainly good. Looking at this team, obviously a lot has changed. Coach Saban retires, Kalen DeBoer comes in, Kane Womack takes over as the defensive coordinator. Just what are your expectations for this group, especially looking at this first game on Saturday?
I just want to see if they're communicating. You know what I mean? I think communication, whenever it comes to any team thing, the more characters you add, right? You got basketball, you got 5 guys on the court. You got football, you got 11 guys on the field. So whenever you add people, communication has to go up. And communication has to be efficient because it has to travel fast. So I think that I just want to see these guys communicating, because that is culture. You know what I mean? Confidence and things like that. So I was thinking about this right before I gave you a call, and also yesterday. So what's some of the things that'll be satisfying to me leaving, this game on Saturday? And that's it: communication, execution, communication about mistakes so that they won't happen anymore. Because as this season goes on, communication wins games. You know what I mean? You got these guys are physically physical specimens. They're some of the top recruits in the country. It's going to come down to, are they in the right place at the right time? And that has a lot to do with, how much time you spend with a guy off the field. Do you guys communicate? Do you know how you talk? Do you know what he means when he says these certain things? You know what I mean? Do you know this guy emotional state? Do you know how he responds to failure? So when I'm on the sideline, besides doing the radio, that's what my eyes will be looking for. Seeing if guys are comfortable enough to correct guys' failures, communicate with them, and get the standard back where it needs to be so that they can go out on the field and execute the next time. I feel like if Alabama do that, they'll be hard to beat by anybody because they have the guys.
Absolutely, they do. So we're looking forward to Saturday, Alabama against Western Kentucky, the start of the Kalen DeBoer era and the start of the Damion Square era on the radio on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Damion, thank you so much for your time with us this week on Crimson Drive. Safe travels to Tuscaloosa. We look forward to seeing you Saturday. Roll Tide, man.
Roll Tide.